What if everything you believe about money is wrong? Not just slightly wrong, completely, fundamentally, upside down. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, you check your phone, your bank balance is still there, your salary is still scheduled, prices look the same, but something invisible has shifted, and suddenly the money in your pocket means nothing. No warning, no explosion, no chaos in the streets, just a quiet realization spreading from person to person. I don't trust this anymore. And in that moment, everything changes. Because money, this thing you chase, protect, stress over, has no value on its own. It only works because we believe it works. That's the first truth most people never fully understand. Money is a story, a shared illusion, a collective agreement, and like all stories, it can be rewritten. Chapter 1. The Invisible Deal. Let's go back in time. Thousands of years ago, no banks, no coins, no numbers on screens, just people, a farmer, a fisherman, a potter. The farmer has wheat, the fisherman has fish, the potter has tools. Simple, right? You trade what you have for what you need. But then, reality starts to crack. The fisherman doesn't want wheat today. He already has enough. The farmer needs tools, but the potter doesn't need wheat. Now what? Trade breaks down. Not because people don't have value, but because value isn't aligned in time. This is where money is born. Not as gold, not as paper, but as an idea, a promise, something that says, I may not need what you have today, but I trust I can use this later. That's it. That's the foundation of the entire global economy. Trust. Now imagine holding a small metal coin for the first time. Cold, heavy, stamped with a symbol. It doesn't feed you, it doesn't protect you, but somehow it feels powerful because you know someone else will accept it. That moment when humans agreed to trust an object more than direct exchange changed everything. Trade expanded, cities grew, empires formed, because money solved one problem. It allowed value to travel through time. You could work today and consume tomorrow. But here's the catch. That trust, it's fragile. It depends entirely on belief, and belief can break. Chapter 2. When Money Fails. Picture a crowded market. Voices echo. People negotiate. Goods change hands. Everything feels alive. Now imagine something subtle happens. Prices begin to rise, slowly at first, then faster. Bread costs more, then double, then triple. People start to panic, not because bread disappeared, but because money stopped working. There have been moments in history where money collapsed so badly, people carried it in bags just to buy a single meal. In one famous case, workers were paid twice a day. Why? Because if they waited until evening, their salary would be worth less. Think about that. You work all day, you get paid, and by sunset, your effort has already lost value. This isn't just economics, this is psychological chaos. Trust disappears. People stop saving. They start spending immediately, desperately, because holding money becomes a losing game. And when that happens, society doesn't just slow down, it fractures. Why? Because money isn't just about buying things, it's about coordination. It's how millions of strangers cooperate without ever meeting. It's how you trust that your work today will mean something tomorrow. Remove that, and you don't just lose money, you lose stability, direction, hope. Now come back to your life, your salary, your plans, your stress about income, savings, future. Ask yourself this: do you trust money? Not emotionally, not habitually, but truly understand it. Because the truth is, most people spend their entire lives chasing something without ever questioning what it actually is. And that's where the real power begins, not in earning more, but in seeing clearly. Because once you understand the story of money, you stop being controlled by it, and you start playing the game differently.
Let me ask you something. If tomorrow every bank in the world closed and every screen showing your balance went black, would you still be rich? Or would you just be holding numbers that no longer exist? Pause on that, because this is where things get uncomfortable. Chapter 3: The Great Leap from Gold to Thin Air. For a long time, money had weight. Gold, silver, coins you could feel in your hand. There was something reassuring about it. You could hide it, carry it, protect it. It felt real. But here's the problem. Gold doesn't grow. It just sits there. Imagine an entire economy trying to expand. More people, more trade, more ideas. But the amount of gold stays almost the same. It's like trying to run a modern city using only the water in a single well. Sooner or later, you hit a limit. So, humans did something radical. They cheated reality. Instead of using gold directly, they created representations of gold, paper notes, a promise that said, this piece of paper equals a certain amount of gold somewhere. At first, this worked beautifully. People didn't have to carry heavy metal anymore. Trade became faster, lighter, more efficient. But then, something subtle happened. Banks realized something most people didn't. Not everyone comes back to claim their gold at the same time. Let that sink in. If 100 people deposit gold, maybe only 10 will withdraw it today. So what if the bank lends out the rest? Now, suddenly, the same gold is being used by multiple people, the same value, duplicated. This is where money begins to stretch beyond reality, like a shadow growing longer than the object that casts it. And it works. At least, as long as people don't question it. Because the moment everyone asks for their gold back at once, the illusion breaks. This is called a bank run. And it's not just a financial event. It's pure human fear in motion. Lines forming outside banks, faces tense, people gripping withdrawal slips like lifelines. Because deep down, they realize something terrifying. There isn't enough real value for all of us. Now fast forward. The world becomes more complex. Governments step in. They say, let's make this easier. Let's remove gold entirely. No more backing, no more metal, just paper, just numbers, just trust. Money is no longer tied to anything physical. It's backed by belief in governments, belief in systems, belief that tomorrow will still make sense. Think about that. The entire global economy runs on a shared assumption, and you participate in it every single day. When you accept a salary, when you check your balance, when you save for the future, you are trusting an invisible system. Chapter 4: The Hidden Engine, Debt. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. And a little dangerous, because money isn't just created, it's born out of debt. That sounds strange, right? Let's break it down. Imagine you walk into a bank. You ask for a loan, let's say $10,000. The bank doesn't go into a vault and pull out physical cash. Instead, they type numbers into a system. And just like that, your account shows $10,000. Money, created, out of nothing. But here's the twist. That money only exists because you now owe it back, with interest. So the system creates money, but it also creates obligation. This is the engine of the modern economy. Debt fuels growth. Businesses expand using borrowed money. People buy homes they can't fully afford yet. Countries invest in the future using funds they don't currently have. It sounds powerful, and it is, but it's also fragile, because the system depends on one thing: continuous belief in the future. You borrow today because you believe tomorrow will be better. You take risks because you expect growth. But what happens when that belief weakens? When people stop borrowing? When they stop spending? The engine slows, then stalls, then collapses. Think of it like this. The economy is a bicycle. Debt is the forward motion. If the bike keeps moving, everything stays balanced. But the moment it stops, everything falls. Now bring it back to your life again. Your plans, your goals, your idea of financial security. How much of it is built on money that doesn't physically exist? How much of it depends on systems you've never questioned? Loans, mortgages, credit. Even governments operate on borrowed money. Entire nations owing future value to sustain the present.
And in the final part, we're going to uncover something deeper, something most people never realize, even after a lifetime of earning, saving, and spending. A hidden layer, a silent force that determines not just how money works, but who truly wins the game, and who never even knew they were playing. Chapter 5. The System Behind the System. Now we go deeper, past coins, past paper, past numbers on a screen, into the real layer, the one you don't see but feel every day. Power. Short sentence, clear truth. Money is not just a tool, it's a lever, and whoever controls the lever shapes reality. Think about this. Who decides how much money exists? Not you, not the average worker, not the small business owner. It's central authorities, governments, financial institutions. They don't just manage money, they create it, expand it, contract it, like oxygen in a room. Too little, people suffocate. Too much, everything burns. When more money is printed, it doesn't land equally. It enters the system at specific points: banks, corporations, governments. And by the time it reaches you, its value has already changed. Prices rise, savings shrink, quietly, gradually, like sand slipping through your fingers. This is not an accident, it's a mechanism. Now listen carefully. This is the shift, the realization, the moment everything clicks. Money is not neutral. It rewards certain behaviors, punishes others. If you save blindly, you may lose slowly. If you understand flow, you position yourself differently. Because the game was never just about earning. It's about placement, where your money sits, how it moves, how fast it adapts. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are playing defense in a game designed for offense. They work, they earn, they save, but they never question the system itself. So they stay inside it, bound by it, limited by rules they didn't create. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where everything changes.
Chapter 6. The Awakening. This is the turning point. Not outside, inside. Because the biggest shift is not in money, It's in awareness. You stop asking, how do I make more money? And you start asking, how does money actually move? You stop chasing numbers and start understanding systems, patterns, cycles, behavior. You realize something powerful. Money flows toward clarity, toward those who understand risk, timing, psychology. And suddenly, you're not reacting anymore. You're observing, positioning, deciding. Short sentences now. Feel the rhythm. You think differently. You act differently. You wait when others rush. You move when others freeze. You stop fearing money and start reading it like a language, like a code. Because that's what it is, a code written by humans, followed by billions, questioned by very few, and now you are one of the few. The 3-step action plan. Start in 24 hours. No theory, no waiting, action. Step 1. Audit your reality. Open your phone. Look at your last 30 days of spending, every transaction. Don't judge it, just see it. Ask yourself, is my money moving with intention or by habit? Clarity is power, and most people avoid it. Don't. Step 2. Shift one flow. Don't try to change everything. That's how people fail. Pick one thing, one subscription, one unnecessary expense, one passive habit. Redirect that money into something that grows, a skill, knowledge, an asset, even if it's small, because direction matters more than size. Step 3. Learn the game daily. For the next 7 days, spend 20 minutes a day understanding money, not chasing it, understanding it. Read, watch, observe markets, behavior, trends. Train your mind to see patterns, because once you see patterns, you stop being surprised. And when you're not surprised, you're in control. Outro, the final realization. So, here we are, at the edge of something deeper. Money is not your enemy, but it's not your friend either. It's a mirror. It reflects systems, beliefs, decisions. It can build empires or trap lives in cycles, not because it changes, but because people don't. And maybe that's the real story, not about money, but about awareness. Because the moment you understand the system, you stop being just a participant and become a player. And the moment you become a player, you realize something quietly powerful. The game was always there. You were just never taught the rules. Now you are. Call to action. If this changed the way you see money, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. And I want to ask you something I want you to answer in the comments. If money is just a shared belief, what do you believe about it right now? Think carefully, because your answer is shaping your entire life.